Hello, I'm the Frozen Scribe and welcome back to my channel. And it's been quite a long time since I've made a video. I think the last one I made was in the middle of July's Camp Nano, so I think I didn't even update you on how that went. And since then, from near the end of July, I was really busy and then some stressful things happened. So even when I had a little bit of time and energy to write, I really couldn't even think about making videos. And so my quick update for Camp Nano is I did not make my word count goal. I made progress that month, but I didn't meet my goal, and after that point I kind of stopped working on that book because I wanted to prepare for NaNoWriMo, because it's been a big part of my writing goals for the year was NaNoWriMo. So what will I be doing for NaNoWriMo? I will be working on a completely new book for my first time since NaNoWriMo 3 years ago. And I'm really excited to be starting something completely fresh that I haven't gotten bogged down in and overcomplicated yet. I will be working on the story that I've been kind of having sitting around in my head since also 2018, I think. And it's a story I'm really excited to work on because it is a quest story, and I love quest tropes in fantasy, but I've never actually written one. So I'm really excited to give it a try. I think it will be kind of interesting, a bit different from what I've written so far. The magic system is, I don't have it figured out yet, but I think it will be kind of different from my other magic systems that I've created. So yeah, it's just kind of like what I always write in the realm of like secondary world fantasy, maybe with some different twists. So yeah, since July I've been kind of working on my outline for that and trying to get in some character and world building. I think details about the characters and the world will kind of come to me more as I write. I feel like outlining, you can get a sense of things, but the world and characters don't really come to life until you're drafting, at least for me. So I like to kind of outline first and make some details, but keep it very open, and I know that stuff will develop a lot more as I'm writing. And since I have done a lot of outlining for this book this year, I thought I'd talk a little bit about how I outline. And so the first thing I do is I will organize it into 4 different parts. I know a lot of people use 3-act structure, but for me I kind of have 4 acts or 4 just sections of the story. I feel like that way works really well for how I plan, and just makes a lot of sense to me. So I have 4 parts, kind of the beginning, the middle, part 1, the middle, part 2, and the end. And they're kind of equally sized, but not really. They can be kind of bigger or smaller than each other, so that's not super important. But I will take the scenes, any scenes that I'd already been thinking of, and kind of fit them in. And then what I do from there is I'll go back and reference some different structures I have. I've kind of collected a bunch of different outline structures over the years, like beat sheets, different key scenes, that sort of thing. I'll reference them and kind of see what fits for my story, what are points that need to be hit, like plot points. And not every story will have every plot point, but kind of a good starting base that I like to figure out first is the transition between each section of the book. So kind of the point of no return, where the character can't return to their normal life. That's kind of the transition from the beginning and middle. And then at the middle of the book, the midpoint event is some big thing that kind of changes the character's perspective on the conflict and changes their approach. And then the break into Act 3 is kind of the final change, the final thing they need to go and confront the enemy or evil or whatever the conflict is. And then there are little things that kind of fit into each section. So like part 1 will have kind of the everyday life, the call to action, and the refusal of the call. So we show the character in their everyday life. Then something happens to where it's kind of they're invited to change their life, to go on an adventure, to there's some sort of hint of conflict there. But then the character will refuse the call. They will try to avoid getting involved. And then that will be a conflict until they accept the call, until there's the point of no return, in which point they go to the first part of the middle. In the middle, they're kind of experiencing new things. So this is called the fun and games point. So I try to think of all the fun and games they'll have. So for my current book, at this point, this is when she starts going on her quest and starts going to new places and collecting the things she will need. In the midpoint, it can be kind of like some sort of battle, confrontation with the antagonist, things like that. And then we move into the second part of the middle. So it might be after that confrontation, they kind of need to regroup, reassess how they're approaching this conflict. They might learn some new things. So then they kind of start working towards that. And then working down towards the end, there'll be something bad happens. Bad things will keep happening to where the character reaches kind of their down point. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called right now, but they will reach a really down moment for them, and they have to kind of battle that and battle internally. And once they kind of accept that and that they can keep going is when they break into the ending point, which is their final push towards the end. That's when the final big battle or fight or confrontation with whatever the source of conflict is happens. So I try to make a list and try to identify things that fit into them, and then I will start filling in things that need to happen in between all the things that will make it a nice cohesive story without worrying about points so much. I like to use them as a structure to hold it up, to make sure my story isn't lacking anything. So I'll probably do 2 or 3 just kind of lists, and I'll keep making them longer and bigger and putting in more notes. And then I'll start writing short paragraphs. So then it will go to be an actual outline with little paragraphs, and at first the paragraphs will only have a couple of words, but then I'll go back and expand them and expand them. So this is a really multi-stage process. It's very involved and detailed. So I think when I do this, it's kind of on the end of much more of detailed plotting than like a lot of people will use. So right now my most recent plot that I made was about 3,000 or 4,000 words, and I am expanding one more time. I really want to go into this with a detailed plot so it's easier for me to write and stay on track, because I've been having a lot of trouble with that recently. So I'm hoping that having the detailed outline will prevent me from having writer's block during Nano. And I should add, right now it's October 9th. I am behind on plotting already, but hopefully I will get done with my new outline within a week or 2, so I have kind of a week to not think about it before Nano begins. So yeah, that's kind of about the structures I use. I'm sorry it wasn't very clear, since it's been a long time since I've made one of these, and I didn't have my thoughts as organized as I thought I did. Maybe I will make a more clearer explanation of my structure that I use in the future. But yeah, I work in stages of expanding and resting between each stage of expansion. I feel like that gives me time for it to come together organically. And then as I'm writing, of course, if something needs to change, I will not stick to the structure. So yeah, that is how I've been working for NaNoWriMo. I'm really excited. I love fall, I love October, I love Halloween, and I love how it goes straight into NaNoWriMo. So this is a great time of year. I will try to do better about making more videos in the future. So please stay tuned, and thank you for watching.